Okay, so today we're diving into some pretty heavy stuff.
Yeah.
You probably heard about Brian Thompson, the CEO of UnitedHealthcare.
Right.
Tragic death has been everywhere.
Absolutely. All over the news.
So we're going beyond the headlines.
Yeah.
We've got a stack of articles, CNN, New York Post, Reuters. We're going to try to figure out what this means. I mean, for everybody, for all of us who rely on the healthcare system.
You know, it's really interesting. This whole case is tapping into a lot of the anxiety and frustration that I think people are feeling right now about healthcare.
Yeah,
It's a stark reminder that these issues have real consequences.
absolutely. Real world consequences. And to kind of set the stage here, remind everybody, this happened on December 4th, 2024, right outside the Hilton in Midtown Manhattan.
Wow.
He was on his way to UnitedHealthcare's big annual investor conference, which makes it even more
Yeah.
unsettling.
Definitely. And it seems like, from what we're reading, that it was a very targeted attack.
Yeah.
The gunman was lying in, ignored other pedestrians, shot Thompson multiple times,
Multiple times.
even cleared a jam in his weapon during the shooting, which suggests, some familiarity with firearms.
Like some kind of training almost.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he escapes on a city bike, one of those electric ones.
Oh, wow.
Last seen entering Central Park.
It's like something out of a movie.
It really is.
The police have released some pretty grainy surveillance images, looks like from a Starbucks near the hotel, and it looks like just minutes before the shooting, he was buying a bottle of water and 2 power bars.
Oh.
So those could be important for DNA.
Yeah, absolutely. And they found a cell phone near the scene that they think belonged to him too.
Right.
So if they can get into that, I mean, that could be a gold mine.
It could be location history, communications, maybe even internet searches.
Right. It's like a digital footprint.
Yeah.
So hopefully that'll help investigators figure out, not just who he is, but why he did this. And that motive is still, I mean, that's the big question mark.
Yeah.
The police are looking into personal and professional angles here.
Right.
So let's talk about what we're seeing in the articles about possible motives.
Oh.
So they mentioned that his wife, Thompson's wife, said he had been getting threats, although it's not clear, what those threats were about.
Right.
But apparently UnitedHealthcare had told investigators about these threats, so it wasn't like they came out of nowhere.
Interesting.
And then on top of that, Thompson was named in a lawsuit this year, insider trading.
Oh, wow.
So that investigation, if it had found anything, I mean, that could have been really bad for him and for the company.
Definitely.
And then you've got the fact that UnitedHealthcare itself has been kind of under fire lately for some of their practices, like using an AI model to deny claims.
Yeah, I read about that.
Which, according to these articles, had a pretty high error rate, meaning it was incorrectly denying a lot of claims.
Oh.
And you can imagine how scary that would be for patients who need those approvals, for their health care.
Right, absolutely.
So it's like, was this attack motivated by personal revenge? Or was it something more, something about this system? Was it about Thompson himself, or was he a symbol of a larger frustration?
Right. With healthcare, with insurance companies, with AI making decisions about people's care.
Yeah, exactly. It's unsettling.
It is.
And the articles talk about how this could have, a ripple effect on the entire healthcare system.
In what way?
They talk about increased security measures for other executives in the industry. But what does that mean for, for us?
Well, I mean, one concern is that those costs get passed down to us.
Yeah.
Like higher premiums, less coverage. It's like we're paying for their security.
Yeah.
Which feels, unfair when healthcare is already so expensive.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And it's not just about the money.
Right.
The articles talk about how this could impact the availability of care, too.
Oh, interesting.
If these executives are worried about their safety all the time,
Yeah.
they might be less likely to take risks, to innovate, to push for new treatments and new technologies.
That's true. I mean, healthcare thrives on innovation. We need leaders who are, willing to think outside the box, challenge the status quo, invest in research. And this event could create a climate of fear, make companies less willing to take risks, which ultimately could slow down progress.
Slow down finding cures, developing new treatments.
Right.
And let's not forget the human cost. The articles mention people who were actually at that investor conference shaken, some in tears.
Wow.
This wasn't just, a news story for them. This was something they experienced.
A traumatic experience.
Yeah, exactly.
It's easy to get caught up in the big picture, but we can't lose sight of the people. This impacts morale, job satisfaction, could lead to burnout, make it even harder to attract good healthcare professionals.
And we're already facing a shortage
Yikes.
of doctors and nurses, and this could make it worse.
Absolutely.
And then you have public trust.
Right, which is already fragile.
This could erode that even further, make people more skeptical of the whole system.
Which can be dangerous. People might delay treatment, turn to unproven remedies because they don't trust the system.
Yeah.
And that can have serious consequences for individuals and for public health in general.
It's like one event could trigger a domino effect,
Absolutely.
impacting every aspect of healthcare. The cost, the quality, the trust that it's all built on.
And it makes you think about, the broader societal implications. This has sparked conversations about violence, about anger, about the threats that public figures face.
Right.
It's a reminder that these issues are real.
Real, and they have real consequences.
Devastating consequences.
It feels like a wake-up call,
Yeah.
to figure out how to address these tensions before they escalate even further.
We need to create spaces for dialogue, for understanding, for working together to build a better system, a system that's equitable and accessible
Yeah.
for everyone.
And we can't let fear and violence win.
Absolutely not. This tragedy, as awful as it is, it could be a catalyst for positive change.
I hope so.
One thing that's interesting is how this has reignited the gun control debate.
Oh, yeah.
Some people see this as a clear argument for stricter laws, while others think the focus should be on mental health, addressing the root causes.
It's such a complex issue.
It is.
Strong beliefs on both sides. Not an easy conversation.
No, not at all.
But it's a conversation that we need to have.
We do. It's forcing us to confront some uncomfortable truths about our society.
About the role of fear and violence.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. It's like a puzzle with missing pieces.
It is. But as we learn more, as the investigation unfolds, we'll get a clearer picture
Of what happened, why it happened, and what it all means.
for all of us.
Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit and talk about where the investigation stands right now.
Okay.
So they've released a description of the suspect. They're offering a reward. They're analyzing all the evidence, the footage, the cell phone, even that water bottle.
Right.
Looking for DNA, fingerprints, anything to identify him.
It sounds like they're on his trail.
They tracked him to Central Park, maybe even further,
It's a race against time.
Yeah.
They got to find him.
before he disappears or hurts somebody else.
Absolutely.
This case is being watched by everybody, not just the police, the media, but the healthcare industry. I'm sure regular people like us,
Of course.
wondering what it means for us, for our safety, for the future of healthcare.
The outcome of this investigation could change how we protect public figures, how we deal with violence, how we make sure everyone feels safe, especially in a system as vital as healthcare.
So much is still unknown, but hopefully as we get more information, we'll start to put the pieces together.
I hope so.
We'll be back.
Makes you wonder, was this about, revenge, personal revenge, or was it something bigger?
Yeah.
More about the system.
Yeah. Was it about him or was it about, I don't know, something else? Was he a symbol? Is that what he represented?
Right, yeah.
It's unsettling.
It is. It's really unsettling.
And, these articles are talking about, how this could impact the whole healthcare system. Like everybody.
Yeah. In what way?
Well, they talk about how, there could be more security for other executives, the people at the top.
Right.
But what does that mean for, the rest of us?
That's a good question. I mean, one concern is that it all just gets passed down to, consumers. Yeah, higher premiums, less coverage. We end up paying for their security.
Right. Right.
And that doesn't seem fair at all when healthcare already costs so much.
That's a really good point. And it's not just about the money either.
Right.
They talk about how this could impact, how much care is even available.
Oh, interesting.
Like if these guys are always worried about getting,
Yeah.
attacked,
Yeah.
they might not want to take as many risks,
Right.
try new things,
Less innovation.
less innovation. Yeah, exactly. Push for those new treatments, new technologies.
Absolutely. And healthcare needs that. It needs to keep moving forward. You need people willing to think differently, challenge the way things are, invest in the future. And this whole event, it could make everyone afraid to do that.
Afraid to, make those companies more afraid to take risks.
Exactly, which slows everything down.
Slows down progress, yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's, we can't forget about the people, like the human cost of this whole thing.
The human cost, right?
The articles mention people who were at that conference, they were shaken. Some of them were crying.
Wow, yeah.
This wasn't just some story they read. They were there.
It was real for them.
It was real, a traumatic experience. And, it's easy to get caught up in all the big picture stuff. But you're right. There are real people who are affected by this.
Absolutely. This impacts morale, job satisfaction, could lead to burnout. I mean,
Yeah.
makes it even harder to find good people to work in healthcare.
And we already have a shortage
Exactly. We've talked about that before.
of doctors and nurses. This is going to make it worse. And then on top of that, you have the public trust issue.
Right. Which is already shaky.
This could erode it even more.
Yeah.
Make people, not trust the system at all.
Yeah. And that's a real problem.
It is a problem.
Because then people might not get treatment when they need it. They might turn to, things that haven't been proven to work because they don't trust the system.
Yeah.
And that's dangerous for everyone.
That's dangerous for everyone, yeah. So it's like this one event could trigger all these other things.
Absolutely. It's a domino effect.
Yeah. Cost, quality, trust.
The whole foundation of the system.
Yeah, exactly. It's all connected.
And then you have to think about, what this means for society, for the bigger picture. We're having all these conversations about violence, about anger, about, people who are in the public eye and the threats they face.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that this is real.
This is real life. This is happening.
Real, and it has real consequences.
Devastating consequences, yeah.
Yeah,
This feels like a wake-up call,
I think so.
Like we have to figure out how to deal with all this tension.
Before it gets worse.
Yeah. Before it gets worse, we have to figure out how to talk to each other, how to understand each other,
Yeah.
how to build something better.
Yeah, a system that's fair, a system that works for everybody.
Exactly. And we can't let fear and violence win.
This is awful, this whole thing, but maybe it's a chance to actually make things better.
I hope so.
One thing that's interesting is how this whole thing has brought up the gun control debate again.
Oh, yeah.
Some people are saying this is why we need stricter laws.
Right.
Others are saying, no, we need to focus on mental health, get to the root of the problem.
It's a tough one.
It is. It's a really tough one.
Strong feelings on both sides.
Absolutely.
It's not an easy conversation to have.
No, but we need to have it.
We need to have it, yeah.
We do. It's forcing us to look at some hard truths about ourselves.
About our society.
Yeah, about ourselves, about, the role of fear and violence in our lives.
Yeah. There's so much to think about here. It's like, I don't know, we have some of the pieces, but not all of them.
It's a puzzle, yeah. But as we learn more, as the investigation goes on, hopefully we'll get a clearer picture
Of what happened, why it happened.
and what it means for all of us.
Yeah, what it means for all of us. Okay, so let's shift gears for a second
Okay.
and talk about the investigation. Where do things stand right now?
All right, good idea.
So they've released a description of the suspect. They're offering a reward for information.
Good.
And they're going through all that evidence, the surveillance footage, the cell phone they found, even that water bottle,
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
trying to find his DNA, fingerprints, anything that could tell them who he is.
So they're on the right track.
They're on his trail. Yeah, they've tracked him to Central Park, maybe even further.
They're following him.
It's a race against time.
It is. They need to find this guy
Yeah,
before he disappears.
before he disappears or hurts somebody else.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a big deal. Everybody's watching this. I mean, the police, the media, obviously, but the healthcare industry. I bet regular people like us,
Yeah, we're all paying attention.
we're all paying attention,
Yeah.
wondering what this means for us, for our safety, for the future of healthcare.
And this could change everything. The outcome of this, it could change how we protect people in the public eye, how we deal with violence as a society,
Yeah.
how we make sure that everyone feels safe, especially when it comes to something as important as healthcare.
So much is still unknown, but hopefully as we learn more, we'll start to see the bigger picture a little bit more clearly.
I hope so.
We've talked about a lot here, the attack itself, what it could mean for the whole healthcare system.
Right. Yeah.
So if we kind of, I don't know, zoom out a little, what are the key takeaways here, especially for people like us, regular people?
I think for me, it's, this whole thing really shows how much anxiety people have about healthcare.
Yeah.
It's not just about the cost or even getting access.
Right.
It's this feeling that the system is, I don't know, impersonal,
Yeah.
bureaucratic, sometimes even hostile.
Right. And it makes you ask some tough questions. How do we keep the people in charge of healthcare safe without making everyone else feel like, I don't know, like they're in danger too?
Right.
How do we take all this anger and frustration, and turn it into something good?
Yeah. And how do we build a system that actually, cares about patients,
Right.
one that people can trust, that makes sure everyone gets good care,
Yeah.
no matter how much money they make or where they come from.
Absolutely. These are big questions.
They are.
But we got to start somewhere.
We do.
What about this whole thing stands out to you? What do you keep thinking about?
I keep thinking about the people,
Yeah.
we can't forget that behind all the headlines, the numbers, there are real people who are hurting.
Yeah.
Brian Thompson was a husband, a father, a friend, and
Right.
his family, his friends, they're grieving, his
Yeah.
colleagues. I mean, they saw this happen.
Yeah. It's easy to get caught up in the big picture. But you're right, there's this ripple effect.
Yeah.
It touches everyone. The people who work at UnitedHealthcare,
Yeah.
the patients, the doctors, the nurses, they're all dealing with this.
And it makes you think about what we can do,
Yeah.
to make healthcare better, to support the people who are struggling,
Right.
to push for change, to find solutions that work for everybody.
It's a challenge, but it starts with, I guess, understanding the problem,
Yeah. Yeah.
talking about it, listening to each other.
We can't let fear win. We can't let violence win.
Right.
We have to take all that energy and create a system that actually deserves our trust.
A system that puts people first.
Absolutely.
This isn't about, blaming anyone.
No,
It's about figuring this out together, finding solutions that work for everybody.
I think so.
So as you go about your day, think about this case. What questions does it raise for you?
Yeah.
How can you be part of making things better? Because at the end of the day, this is about all of us. It really is.
Thanks for listening.